All right, good morning, everyone. We'll get started. It's a little bit after 9 o'clock. We'll get started with our regular scheduled Commissioners Court meeting this morning, along with a PFC meeting this morning. If you'll stand for a prayer and a pledge real quick. Commissioner Ward.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day you've given us. And Lord, we know that it comes from you. And thank you for it. We ask your blessings upon this meeting today. We ask, Lord, that you grant us wisdom and knowledge that we need to carry the business out this day. We pray for our community. We pray for unity in our community. Lord, we ask that you would bless us with rain and abundance, that all of our springs and creeks and wells would be restored. And we thank you for how you work in our daily lives. Lord, in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. It's 9:04. We'll call the meeting to order. With a full noting that everyone's present this morning for the Commissioners Court meeting. Thank you all for being here. We'll get started with items number 3 on the agenda. Item number 3 on the agenda will be the departmental reports and comments. County agent. His report is attached in the this morning's packet for you. Aging Center. County Attorney. Auditor. Clerk. Clerk has an attachment for us this morning in November monthly report. Community Center. Nothing really to have an event there this weekend, right? Next weekend. Okay. Constable here, was you got anything this morning? No. Okay. Detention Center. Warden. Warden here today. EMC.
Tomorrow or Wednesday, we're going to have a meeting go over this Los Morris dam. Make sure we're on top of that. I have Catherine Ghost meeting up with us. So I'll have a few of the elements from the county meeting up to make sure that she has everything to continue on the track. That everything's up to par in our safety emergency action plan. And that should be on Wednesday at 9 at the Britter Room. Only those that are invited. If you guys want to attend, you're welcome to.
Okay.
As for weather, it's getting cold. Get with the PIO to make sure we send reminders, make sure to practice fire safety. Also, make sure we're not using old heaters that are not in compliance, stuff like that, just to make sure the communities aware. Anything for me? I'll see y'all later.
Thank you, bud. EMS, Nick.
Good morning. Have our monthly report for November. We had a total of 47 calls. Out of those 47 calls, we transported 30 of them. We took 10 to Uvalde, 18 to Valverde, and we flew 2 patients out. On the chart, I updated it a little bit. I took away where it had border-related calls since we haven't really had an issue with that lately. I replaced it with air calls. So when we fly people out, and we also had 4 second calls last month. So it's been about average for the last couple of months on the second calls. In other news, we're working on getting everything buttoned up with the new ambulance. Should be by Tuesday to move over the Starlink. The radio was installed, except he was missing a cable. He's going to come back this week and do it. The electrician's coming Wednesday to do the plugs, to plug the truck in. And after that, everything should be good on the new ambulance. Working with Candy and Alma to get all the information for the House Bill 3000. Should hopefully have the quote for the ambulance by the end of the week. So that way we can be ready to submit on the 1st of January. Other than that, everything's been going normal on our end. Any questions? All right. Thank you.
Grant updates. Ms. Westbrook's provided a grant update for the law enforcement side of things. Ms. Westbrook.
Whether you have any questions on it or not, but for Stone Garden, the September and October report, and the money received was $69,015. The Criminal Justice Division, which is a school resource officer grant, that amount received was $7,073.59, and the latest one received was $49,4895. On the next line, then you have Operation Lone Star. The amount received was a total of 103,000. Actually, it's 104,256.90, and the month before it was 111,000. The total amount used out of our grant last year was $2,422,667.28, and the total amount we were awarded was 3.5. So we used less than $1 million less of that. And that is because those are just items we base our grant based on the previous year, because the previous 2 or 3 years were so, we had perhaps so much. So we based what we asked for. The grants are written in December. They're submitted in January, February, where they're not awarded till the next October. Sometimes the year before, this year it was awarded in October. In the previous years, we didn't receive the actual award until November, so we base what we think we're going to need for the next year based on what has been happening. The operation, see here, the grant. We have one grant application still on hold. That is for a Homeland Security Law Enforcement Terrorism Protection Grant that was submitted a year ago. It still has not been awarded. It is still pending, and that's for tower support for the communication software. The current software for that, for the towers, does not expire until the end of September of next year. And last year I wrote a grant to put it in so that we could try to get money starting in September, the 1st of September for the next year. So that's the maintenance and software support. Other than that, I think everything is there. All documents will be written, prepared, starting. The grants have not opened yet, unless they opened over the weekend. They were not open last week to start entering for the new grants. I would like to mention the fact that an audit has not been completed, a single county audit. And if we do not have an audit completed by the end of December, which is 23 days away, when I submit the grants, they will not go in. Because on one page on the documents tab, it lists the date of the last audit, and it has to be every year. The last audit conducted was completed in May of 24. Every year that I've done the grants, it's always been May, and there's not been completed this year. So that will affect all of you. Any other questions? Okay.
Do you have anything? Indigent healthcare is attached. County Judge's Office monthly report for November. The funds that were received for different items. Judge Rather Adams attached a report for her office for November. Library. Good. Road and Bridge has attached their report for November. Activity report. Sheriff.
Morning.
Morning.
Okay. Right now, we've got 65 in jail scattered throughout the state. 25 of which are in Tom Green County. I don't know. The OLS crew over in Del Rio is going to move any more of ours out of Medina County. But it made our bookkeeping a whole lot easier. Last month, we served 19 warrants. But we were issuing 21 warrants, so we're not making any headway on them. We turned 27. As of last month, Los Alamitos, we had 1,700 man days in jail. 25 of which are in Tom Green. Everything we have in jail, 54 are related to smuggling or some type of immigration document. We did 15 transports. We did almost 4,000 miles on our transport van over the month. Miles racking up on that thing pretty quick. According to the OLS people, they're supposed to start transporting for us, but I'm not going to hold my breath. Like I said, when we get to executive session, I've got something to bring up regarding our OLS jail situation. Other than that, everything's pretty much status quo. Fairly good weekend, nice and slow. Texas Tech won the Big 12, so hey, good weekend. Any questions?
When are the cameras going to get repaired, do you think, from the?
Still waiting for the day.
He is?
Yeah,
Okay.
I knew the parts had come in. They had to go back, be rechecked. So there was something wrong with it. I think they're back, and I did get a note from him that they're down there looking right now.
Yeah, they showed up there. Okay. Thanks, Sheriff. County Tax Assessor. County Treasurer. County Attorney, Brent, got anything for us?
Not this moment.
Okay. All right, that'll conclude item 3 this morning. We'll go into item 4 on our agenda. Deliberate and consider following action on the following. Item 4A this morning is a report and discussion. Report only from Biennial Sexual Assault Response Team, SART, SART, presentation for Kinney County by Wintergarden Women's Shelter. This is going to be presented by Erica Bustamante and Denysea Garcia. Is that correct? Okay.
So I actually brought you all. So my name is Denysea Garcia. I'm an outreach specialist.
Speak into that microphone for me.
Okay. My name is Denysea Garcia. I'm an outreach specialist as well as part of our SART team with Wintergarden Women's Shelter. And so in August, I'm not sure if you all remember, my director, Erica Bustamante, came before the court just to present and talk about the mandated sexual assault response law, which is Senate Bill 476. So it mandates that every county have a sexual assault response team. Basically, it's a collaborative effort between law enforcement, prosecution, advocacy, the largest healthcare provider, and behavioral health. And so this report is due biannually every 2 years. We offered our help in kind of facilitating this process and offered to expand our services as a nonprofit here in Kinney County. So I'd like to report that we have had 3 meetings. The sheriff has been very involved, very helpful, very gracious in letting us use the fire department to conduct those meetings. We've had the district attorney has been here as well as the victims advocate coordinator and her private investigator for these meetings. UMC has attended 1 meeting. Hill Country has attended all 3. So we have all the mandated members. We did invite Laughlin Sapper because we do know that there are some service men and women here in the area. And so Laughlin Air Force Base also wanted to participate in this. And so we've been meeting and we're going to meet quarterly. We're going to have trainings, just a lot of collaboration between interagencies. This report was due December 1st. I emailed all of you together. It is due February 1st from Commissioner's Court to the Office of the Governor. And so as long as this report is submitted, then county funding will not be impacted in any way. Basically for Kinney County, because it's kind of a low traffic area, there is no data. So you'll see that on the data and findings, there's no data for the last 2 years, which means we have not had a sexual assault occur within county lines. Our greatest challenge currently is that we do have to travel outside of county lines to receive a sexual assault forensic exam, but that just comes with part of being a remote community. And so Valverde Regional Medical Center has a new update as of January. They might have a sexual assault nurse examiner on staff for us. And so if we're not taking them to Uvalde, we'll be taking them to Valverde. And worst case scenario, we'll have to transport all the way to Hondo. But this interagency collaboration kind of helps us facilitate that process in a way that we minimize the trauma for these victims, so that we know, ABC, this is what we do. If Valverde can't take us, you go to Uvalde. If not, we go to Hondo. And so we're going to keep working together. If you all have any questions, feel free to reach out to my office or I can answer anything now.
We need to submit this report by
February 1st.
February 1st.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we'll, today it was just for a report only discussion.
Yeah.
So we'll put it back on the agenda to accept it, receive it, and then we'll get it. Then we can send it to y'all for submission, or we submit it
So
ourselves.
the Commissioner's Court has to submit it
Okay.
to the, and so I can get with Rebecca and we can figure out all the nuances of that. I did bring you a digital copy because I noticed a typo on the digital one that I sent you all. So I will be sending you all a new digital one today. It was a small typo, but rather not have errors and send it into the state, so.
All right, thank y'all for all you do. Anything, commissioners?
Thank you.
Item 4B this morning is discuss new information on allowable expenses in the 2026 Colonia Construction Fund Grant. What can be included in the submission?
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. So last month we brought you the announcement of the 2026 or 2025-2026 Colonia Construction Fund through the Texas Department of Agriculture. And we talked about the 4 colonias that qualify. And Mr. Ward asked about septic tanks and different homes, and they are an allowable expense. And so we just want to bring that information to you based on the Colonia assessment study through Nueces River Authority. We do have the in-law, the Kinney County Ranch Estates, Macy Road, and Leona. So those are the four colonies. So we would actually have to go door to door to see if we have the LMI in each of those colonias. But this is $1 million, no match. And applications due in January.
Right.
And it's got the water and sewer.
Water, sewer, yes, sir. 51% needs to be water, sewer.
And it has to meet the LMI.
Right.
The colonia has to meet the LMI, correct?
The entire Colonia or just?
Correct, no, the entire.
That's probably
So,
slim
right.
likelihood.
Our information right now, we only had Macy Road Colonia that qualified. Remember with the booster station?
And that has changed out there as far as the people that are currently there. So I don't even know if they would qualify anymore. But it's going to be very difficult to get the qualification as far as the LMI goes.
But we want you to make that decision. If you want us to go door to door and see if we have a colonia that qualifies, we can do that. So,
Septic tanks are not.
yes, they are.
They are. Mhm. I think the lady that was talked to from TVA said they're about 30,000 each. And you have to replace lines that go into the home as well. Mhm. That go to the home, not into it, but to the home. So it would be a wonderful thing, if we have some out there that have some really antiquated, I guess, systems that, need to be updated. It would be.
There's a few. Do you remember how close you were to the other line? That last check up there?
At
So which colonia?
Leona,
Leona.
there was only 2 people, and I would say would be at 50% that actually live there. One probably would qualify and one probably wouldn't.
The Kinney County Ranch Estates, that's gonna be a hard one. It's gonna be a hard one, but we can go, we can survey if that's what you want us to do. Remember, our survey is 5 years old, so at the end of the 26, we'd have to survey the entire
Again,
county again.
So if you did it in 2025, would that qualify for 2026?
yes.
For the next 5 years. The LMI information is good for 5 years.
So what we have is good until 2026.
Right.
We would have to resurvey in 2026.
So if you did it, say we did it in 2025, that doesn't.
That we're,
Yes, you're good for 5. But the reason we would want to do it again is because we know right now they wouldn't qualify. The information that we have now, they don't qualify, but we don't know who's moved in, who's moved out. You let us know.
Would it be to our benefit though if we did it waiting, you did it in 2026 and we did the whole entire county deal again? Because we gotta redo the census or the LMI study in 26
Correct.
for the next 5 years.
Right.
If we
I
just
mean, we'd be ahead with at least the balloons.
one.
Would that be too late for this grant?
Yes.
It would be too late for this grant.
Well, there's no action for this item today.
Well, you just need to let us know whether you want us to go door to door, whether you want us to pursue this grant or not. Because we're going to need a resolution today if you want us to apply.
There should be a second.
The resolution is the next
Mhm,
item
mhm.
on the agenda.
Any other discussion on,
What do you know about Inbar and how many people live out there? Does anybody know for sure?
Well, when I was with the co-op 30 years ago, there's quite a few little kind like little camps.
But not people that live there permanently, right?
It wasn't back then.
Yeah.
Not actual residents, they have like
I've never
camping.
been back there.
They're mainly I think they're mainly absentee,
hunting camps.
mhm. We do have Miss Kennedy out there that we have contacted before and she pretty much knows, who all's out there and that kind of stuff and who's there permanent. So we could definitely contact her.
I have reached, we're waiting.
Oh,
okay, any other discussion on B? We'll move to item C then, to discuss and approve the resolution for submission of the 2026 Texas Community Block Grant, Colonia Construction Fund Grant. And what will be included in the grant. And the resolution is that the Colonia Construction Fund of the Kinney County Court of Commissioners authorizing the submission of the Texas Community Development Block Grant Program application to the Texas Department of Agriculture for the Colonia Construction Fund, and authorizing the county judge to act as the county's executive officer and authorize representative in all matters pertaining to the county's participation in the Texas Community Development Block Grant Program. Whereas the Commissioners Court of Kinney County desires to develop a viable community, including decent housing and suitable living environment and expanding economic opportunities. Principal for persons of low to moderate income, whereas the conditions exist which represent a threat to the public health and safety, and whereas it's necessary and in the best interest of Kinney County to apply for funding under the Texas Community Development Block Grant Program. Now therefore be it resolved by the Commissioners Court of Kinney County, Texas. One, that a Texas Community Development Block Grant Program application for the Colonia Construction Fund is hereby authorized to be filed on behalf of the county with the Texas Department of Agriculture. Two, that the county's application be placed in competition for funding under the Community Development Fund. Three, the application be for the amount of $1 million of grant funds to provide water and wastewater improvements and other infrastructure improvements. Four, that the Commissioners Court directs and designates the following to act on all matters in connection with the application of the county's participation in the Community Development Block Program. 4A is the county judge shall serve as the county's chief executive officer and authorized representative to execute this application in any subsequent contractual documents. 4B would be the county judge is authorized to execute the environmental review and documents between TDA and the county. And the third bullet there is the application is funded. If the application is funded, the county judge and county treasurer are authorized to execute the request for payment form documents and other forms required for requesting funds to reimburse project costs. Number 5 is that all funds will be used in accordance with the applicable federal, state, and local program requirements, including but not limited to procurement, environmental review, labor standards, real property acquisition, and civil rights requirements. And 6, that it further be stated, Kinney County is committing blank dollars from its general fund, grant matching, its cash match for the Colonia Construction Grant. You said this grants are non-matching. So
No match.
it's zero there.
mhm.
All right, so that's the resolution. If y'all want to act on this and pass this today, then that would authorize and give y'all the go ahead to try to work on getting it, reevaluating. For this one, you think it's just Macy Road most likely would be.
Well, if you approve this, then we'll go ahead and do the LMI for Kinney County Ranch Estates, Leona, Inbar, and Lacey Road as well, all four. And then at our next commissioners court, we can say, you know what, we don't have a plan yet.
Okay. All right. Any further questions for these ladies? Entertain a motion to approve the resolution as read. So moved by Commissioner Ward, second by Commissioner Dotson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carried unanimously. 5-0.
Thank you. Okay, especially the Leona, the sheriff supported the last time.
Yeah,
And they
yeah.
took long at some camp and
yeah,
I'm not sure what's going on.
yeah. It was,
Thank y'all.
that was a treat.
Thank you, ladies.
We'll get busy.
All right, item 4D this morning is approve a software quote in the amount of $485 for LGS for 3 jury application user license and jury application setup and install a one-time fee. Software to be utilized by the county district clerk's office. Ricky.
So as you know, last month we went to a LGS conference in Irving. And one of the last days on the conference was a discussion about juries. As you know, we have been unable to pull a jury summons here since June. The state has taken down their system, updated it, and it is still not presentable. Last week, we actually tried calling a jury for a county case. It's not coming up with the names, half of the addresses, doesn't spell out the city of Bracketville properly. So when I went to this conference, we talked to them about it. It is a one-time setup fee of $450, and then it's a $35 a month for 3 users on their system. And actually, the LGS system will do a lot more than what the state does. So we're asking to do an addendum to our LGS contract so that we can get that added and so we can start pulling juries. We had to pull a jury for this month, and what we had to do this time was the state pulls off the list, but it doesn't put everything on there. And the girls in the office had to sit there and create a label for every single juror that went out. Had to put their name on it, their address, their juror number, everything, because it does not print none of that on it.
Okay.
And we need to get juries going again because we've had a lot of juries we've had to cancel because of this.
All right. Entertain a motion to approve item D. Motion made by Commissioner Ferrick, seconded by Commissioner Montalvo. Any further discussion? And this will be paid for out of your IT.
Well, yeah, I'll figure something out, yes.
Okay. Now, will this maintain, the program will be maintained once the state gets back to going?
We'll just stay with LGS. They can go through LGS.
Okay.
We've already requested the jury wheel. We were supposed to be reconstituted last week on the 5th through the state, and we're waiting for them to send us the new updated list so that we can get it sent over to LGS.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carried, man.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, item 4E this morning is discuss and approve the advertisement of bids to set bid deadlines and bid opening date for the following work to be completed for construction plans at the Petersen Building: new electrical system, new AC, HT system, new fire alarm system, new fire suppression system, and plumbing top out with new fixtures. I'll let that start with some discussion.
And as much as the holidays, like we should probably allow a little more time for the bid opening day.
Okay.
I would recommend the first meeting in February to open. These are, big items, the largest ones that we basically been taking care of building wise. And we want to get as much participation as possible. And sometimes it takes a little more time to attract people to respond and bid That's my fault.
Okay, so the open bid date then would be, February the 9th. It's our first meeting in February, okay? The ad date, we want to run the ad two consecutive weeks. Or you want to go 3? Okay. So ad dates will be 3 weeks. Becky, you good there? We'll try to get those ads in the paper. And do what? Can you get in there that's starting this week? So we'll start that the 8th. That'll be that'll we'll put ads out the 11th, 18th. There'll be no paper on the 25th, so there'll be no paper on January 1st. So they run it the all the way till January the 8th. Okay. So ads will be 12/11, 12/18, and 1/8. With the ads needing, the proposals being in our office February the 6th, that Friday afternoon, okay? February 6th. All right, so we have the dates there to satisfy that. Now, on the I have some concern about the fire suppression system. The fire alarm system I'm okay with, but the fire suppression system, guys, that puts water in that building. If someone didn't go off, somebody set it off, and all that stuff gets wet. Do we really want to have a wet suppression system or just a fire alarm system? I think we need to probably just do just a fire alarm system and not have a wet water system in there. But you're talking about a building that's going to be used 24/7 all the time and stuff. So if something does go haywire, most likely somebody's going to be there and be able to report it fairly quickly. So I would say that we strike the suppression system off the bids, but leave the fire alarm system would be my suggestion.
Can I add something to that real quick, Jacob?
Yes, sir. Come on, shoot.
In the event we ever get holding cells or anything put in over there, we're definitely gonna need fire suppression.
That'll be a second unit. That would be a detached unit.
If we ever go that far, but in the event, because I know one time we were looking at having
Inside.
so we're waiting on jail commission, which could take up to 5 years. But if we do a detached one, we're still gonna have fire suppression. So just throwing that out there for thought.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Any other discussion?
Are you worried about the equipment?
Yeah.
Like is the dispatcher? And all that
Yeah.
exclude that area?
I don't know if it can be excluded out or not. Excluded out of the IT room and the dispatching area and just do it all down the hallways and the offices.
I would think we can isolate. That's the question. Understand what we do. If we do put cells in there, we're gonna have to have something like that in there. I mean, just have a couple fire extinguishers in the IT sector. Dispatcher. Can I do?
So you want to leave it in there for the bid, for the quote purposes? Go out for bids?
It wouldn't hurt.
Okay.
We all, we can take it off of there. We'll see if the quote is.
Okay.
Wouldn't bid it.
Any other discussion? All right, so the motion to be made would be to approve the advertising for bids for the work to be done at the Petersen Building according to the architect and engineer plans for a new electrical system, new AC HT system, new fire alarm system, new fire suppression system, and the plumbing top out with fixtures with an add date of December the 11th, December the 18th, and January the 8th. Deadline being for bids to be turned into the judge's office would be February the 6th by 5 o'clock. And open bid date would be the February 9th Commissioners Court meeting for opening bids and reviews. I'll entertain a motion along that. So moved by Commissioner Matabo. Second by Commissioner Ferrick. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carried unanimously. All right. Item F is a discussion, approve and disapprove proposed quote from MK Builders LLC in the amount of $12,800 to run communication wire from the IT room to dispatch room in the Petersen Building. I talked to Chad on the quote for MK Builders. After you went to your CGIS meeting last week, you want to reject this quote and
Yeah, we got to do it all.
okay. So I'll entertain a motion to disapprove item F. So moved by Commissioner Dotson, second by Commissioner Ward. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. And then item G this morning is a bid to discuss and approve a proposed estimate from Western State Communications Incorporated in the amount of $10,868.71 for upgrade in the IT and dispatch room for the Kinney County Sheriff's Office to the Petersen Building. We met with these folks and stuff Friday morning and talked about this, and this is having to do with the items strictly in the dispatch room and so forth in the Petersen Building, along with items in the current dispatch area and so forth. There was visiting with Lucas and stuff, and there on this quote, he was good. He was good with this quote. So, yes. So I'll entertain a motion to approve this estimate from Western States Communications in the amount of $10,868.71. So moved by Commissioner Dotson, seconded by Commissioner Ferrick. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item H this morning, approve and discuss to authorize the county judge to sign a new application for credit with Walmart to open a new credit line of $10,000 due to the discontinuance of the old Walmart credit cards. Sheriff.
So Walmart's prior partner with their credit cards will not allow their business partners to order online. So Walmart decided to discontinue their partnership. So they have a new partner and they're requiring all new credit applications in order to get new cards to use at their stores and online. So it is a digital application. So before I went through all the process of doing it, I want to get y'all's approval first.
Okay. It's a pretty bold move to cancel your online shoppers.
Yeah.
All right, any discussion, any questions from the sheriff? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve item H as presented.
So moved.
So moved by Commissioner Dotson, second by Commissioner Ward. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, ma'am. All right, item I this morning is considered possible action, a presentation by Ms. Rivas for the approval of Kinney County Public Library to partner with Brackett Independent School District as part of the Texas ACE After School Centers on Education Program. Through this partnership, the library will support ACE program objectives by providing literacy-focused activities designed to encourage reading, engagement, and improve comprehension skills, mentorship opportunities for students through guided reading sessions, discussions, and enrichment activities, and access to library resources, including books, digital books, and educational materials. Ms. Rivas.
Yes, we've been actually trying to work with the school. And last month, Miss Luna asked us if we would partner up with them, with the school, to work with the after-school program, the ACE program. And we would be doing the reading up at the school, or sometimes they would come down to the library. We would have the digital books, the educational part, to help the students and even learn how to use the library resources also.
Will the school transport the students to the library?
Yes. But Ms. Luna is here. I don't know if you would like to ask her some questions.
She wants to visit, share with the program. We'll listen to it. Thanks for doing it. Ms. Luna, on this agreement here, it's asking for the library signature, Ms. Rivas' signature or my signature? Is what you're after.
However the approval goes, they have to get y'all's approval.
All right, I'll sign it then. Tell us a little bit more. How long has your program been in place?
This is the third year. It's a 5-year grant program through ACE. It's 21st Century grant. And we have this year, 2 more years after this. It's a 5-year grant. We serve students from kindergarten to 8th grade. And right now we have 72 students enrolled. And we were hoping that the library could come over like once a week and read to our younger ones and do some hands-on activities. And then with our older students, maybe doing some science-based lessons with them and some activities with them, which I've talked to Claudia, and they have that, those resources. We also have a parent involvement night once a month, and I would like them to come over and give lots of information on what the library provides and the resources for them that they can come and use and get from them. I think it would be a positive.
So the kids are going to the library, or are you going to the library?
Yeah, I think it would be either or. I mean, we can work both ways.
Yeah,
We would go to the school, or they would transfer the kids to.
Yeah, in the summer right now, our summer school program has gone each year to like tour the library, show the kids what it's like, and then they get their library cards and just give them some information on what their resources are for the kids for the summer. And we already do that, but it's like a field trip. Mhm. Yes.
Okay. Any further questions?
How long is this, how much longer?
Good question.
How much longer is it going to last, this program?
Like if we agree to it this year, and you say there's 2 years left on your grant,
Yes, sir.
will we need to reapprove it again? Or would it come back to us again for another approval for the second one?
Every year, do you have to come to?
Our other partnerships do yearly.
Yes, that's how we would, I would have. to do as well. Okay. So really no funds from us,
No, sir.
other than
Just our resources.
y'all's fund. Okay.
And it can get the community, the parents involved in seeing what the resources are up there for them also to help with training.
All right. Any other questions?
Do you have enough personnel to do this?
Well, they usually take, also, they take, when, during the summer, they take the teachers that volunteer through the program. And then, if we were to go to the school, if we go to school, yes, we have Claudia and, Elisa. They would be able to go to the program.
Question. All right. They're slowly coming around. Still, it's cold weather got them on. All right. Any other questions? And entertain a motion to approve item I,
So
enter into the agreement with ACE and the Brackett Independent School District and the Kinney County Public Library to partner with the school district. All right, so moved by Commissioner Matavo. Second by Commissioner Dotson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carried unanimously. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, just a comment on that. So a partnership like this is going to work very favorable for their continuation grant.
Okay.
Once this was up, then they'll have to reapply, but a partnership like this will look really great for the ISD.
Thank you, ma'am. Item J this morning, is discuss and accept 2024 Operation Lone Star Internal Audit Report by County Auditor. That's item J. All right, still not doing sorry.
It is Janice.
All right. This report was given to me on like last Tuesday or Wednesday, somewhere along there.
Yeah, it was submitted to.
All right. All right, there we go. Where do you want to start? Get started, go through this.
I'm just gonna give a brief overview and then if we all have questions, it's fine. This audit was brought about due to finding from OCM that our general ledger did not match the FSRs as reported to the state.
Might want to refer to your acronym directly.
So the FSRs are the financial status reports that are reported monthly typically by this county. They're required quarterly, but they are reported monthly because of our cash, just to help with our cash flow.
In OCM.
Is the Office of Compliance and Management through the Office of the Governor's Office. So they came out and audited the first half of the grant year. And they had findings that our general ledgers did not match the reports filed. So in an effort to clean up the general ledger, we had to do a full audit. Now, this report also, or this grant is also the largest piece of our single audit report, which is being held up, as you're aware. So it is crucial that we get this cleaned up. During the audit, a few things were found. We discovered that the grant was not ever officially accepted and a budget established by this court in accordance with the local government code 111.0106. So while the grant has a budget approved by the state, this court has to also pass and approve a budget very similar to the process of our annual budgets. And this court did not do that. Passing that budget is what actually allows it to go onto the general ledger. So any expenses that were spent not in accordance with that budget on the general ledger is technically in violation of state law. The financial status reports were being at that time submitted directly by the grant administrator. She had the login, the financial officer's login at that time and was doing those reports. That is a breakdown of internal controls. We also found some discrepancies in the amounts reported on the FSRs in relation to what was actually spent. Some expenses that were valid were not included on FSRs, so the county taxpayers are just sort of on the hook for those. They were valid, but not reported. And that may have to do with the reports that were given to the grant administrator at the time. I was not here. It looks like her data was not complete. The more concerning piece, however, is that expenses were reported that were not incurred during the grant period or the liquidation period. As a reimbursable grant, we can only be reimbursed for expenses actually incurred. They have to be encumbered before the end of the grant period. Goods and services have to be received and paid before the end of the liquidation period. The liquidation period was through November 29th of 2024. We asked for reimbursements for construction expenses that at this date still have not been incurred as you approved for the bid today. So that money is due back to the state of Texas. We can't keep it. We didn't spend it during the time.
We have spent money on plumbing and texture, both of those.
We have not written a check. So the check had to be written before November 29th.
We did pay Joe's Plumbing, I think at around 17,000. And Mr. Rodriguez for the tape floating and texture.
How do you pay for tape floating and texture when you haven't finished the internal framing?
We paid them.
Well, I don't have a check on the books, so this was based off of checks written. So we did not write a check. I don't know how he got paid, but it wasn't from.
Was it not one of the ones that was getting paid weekly?
That was for stonework. A lot of the stonework was paid for, yes. But the tape and texturing, you can't prepay for the goods and service you hadn't received, but no, a check was not written for that 7812.
The texting and floating was done to get the dispatching room done in the IT room. That guy was paid.
And it may have been paid out of the general fund, but it was not paid out of the grant fund, and we filed for reimbursements. These expenses were not matched to the grant ledger. So but as a result, we asked for some reimbursements. Some of them look to be just simple keystroke errors, perhaps, or things like that. But as a result, we owe the state of Texas $449,000 for construction expenses that we did not expend. On
the HVAC and electrical, but we did do some flooring. Those are flooring done in dispatching and IT.
Right, that was paid recently, and it was not paid for. So the key is that it has to be received and paid for before a 24.
And looking at this for me on the next page of your chart.
Yes.
On your columns here, you're saying actual expenses reported.
Yeah. There is one part on here that looks a little funny on the court reporter. Is that where you've got questions?
Well, the auxiliary building furniture. And then the cases and jackets.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so that's a type error. So we had 324, we only had $314 and we reported 324. It looks like a keystroke error, probably.
Okay. Then
Some of these were estimates and we were able to fill in with actual expenses that were reported, so there was some
Okay,
differences.
on the laptop.
Yep.
If we actually spent $9,000 and we only reported 8,600,
That you,
we can't owe 399.
okay, I may check that. There could be a typo error.
And then the sheriff's fleet maintenance,
Yes,
something was reported wrong. There's no way we went the whole year and only spent $113 on fleet maintenance.
I think the issue is that we could not validate the expenses that were reported. So a lot of it we get in, here's a spreadsheet chart, but we can actually nail down the numbers. And this was a question by OCM as well. They couldn't nail it down either. I think that's, part of it is we're not being consistent and clear. I have noticed that there's some confusion with way the grants work. Operate on a fiscal year not similar to our current fiscal year, and then you have to watch service dates. So I have noticed inconsistencies in the auditor's office on how they apply payments and also and how the POs come over from other various offices. So
Okay, and then the court reporters reported up here and down here.
okay, so that one is a little confusing. So a full $6,000 payment was left off of the FSR. And so when I reduced that out by the report that was probably available at the time it was placed, we reported $4.20 more than we should have. So while you would think you should net the two, because we didn't report the one and we over-reported and under-reported at the same time. That one was a little confusing on our side too.
Now on the top graph here, the top chart,
Yep. Those were expenses we should have reported.
so we didn't get them.
They were not reported on the FSR for one reason or another.
Because the invoices were late from those folks.
No, actually, the checks were written like the Greenwalt. That check was written on September 6th. So the expense incurred within the time period and it was paid for in the liquidation. It was a valid expense. We did not ask for reimbursement for. Some of these did have liquidations after. But these were on the top chart are all valid that we should have asked for.
Your liquidations, it came too late. We paid it, but it was after the.
Not on the top chart. The top chart was within the liquidation period. The bottom chart has either no expense or came after the liquidation date. Or just the wrong amount.
did you realize that this was coming about?
We've been working on it for a while. We finalized it just in time so that I could get it on the court's agenda, so we can get this back to the state. We also needed to finish the single audit, and this was a key piece of that single audit. In order to finish that for other grants. It's important in the text, in the grant standards to recognize our issues and address them directly back to the office of the governor. And that would be prudent for us because we need to go ask for more money for our current grant. Because as of Friday, with a discussion with the Valverde County Sheriff, at this time, he is not intending to take any more of our inmates and pay for any transport or housing that has been incurred since 9/1 of this grant year. We do not have enough in our current budget line items to cover the housing we have already expended on our OLS felonies. So we need to ask for more money. Now that could change, but as of Friday evening, Valverde County will not be paying for our housing or our transport, other than the 25 or so inmates they've already absorbed.
Sheriff, were you aware of that?
Sat down, that's already on the paperwork.
That is correct.
Not gonna take any.
Or pay or redo any reimbursements that has occurred since 9/1 of this year. Our newest November bill for Medina County is $64,000. Our budget line item for housing is, correct me if I'm wrong here, Carla.
137,000, however.
Yeah.
In the grant, and for the meeting that they had on the 18th of November, it was decided, what I was told was decided, and I believe the judge, the sheriff, chief, there were several people from here attended, that 15 of the prior transports and those inmates in jail were to be sent to Valverde, 15 at a time. They would review them. If they fit the criteria for being felonies, then Valverde County would reimburse the county 15 at a time. That is for the money spent in September, October, and November. I did not personally attend that meeting, but I was given that information by both the county attorney, the assistant county attorney, who is Mr. Hacklebale, the judge, and by Chief Garcia. Specifics. And also, I have been told by my grant point of contact at the state that the over $2 million grant that Valverde County has been given is to pay for all felonies. We have money originally in our budget line items of 60,000 for housing, 56 for transportation. It might be the other way around. And I was told that was only for misdemeanors.
Only for felons.
No,
No,
misdemeanors. Valverde has to take care of the felonies.
I
As of 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, that budget line item was put on hold. And when I checked, it's because I was told those two budget items were put on hold because all reimbursements would be coming from the Valverde grant, which is consolidated at Valverde Sheriff's Office. I have documentation and emails to Mr. Kirkpatrick. I found out late Friday afternoon on a conversation with Cheryl. It was almost 5, or maybe it was after 5, about Valverde saying they will not pay for any of this.
and
They have the grant to pay for it. This county does not. There is no open grant to request more money, and the money that's in there right now, 137,000 for housing and 60 for transportation, is on hold. We cannot file to get any of that money back. The expenses in transportation or housing alone for September, October, November is well over $200,000 this county has paid out.
yeah, we're very close to that.
So I tried to call it, I called very late. Everybody was gone. I was not gonna call people over the weekend and ruin your weekend, because I worked on this all weekend to come up with information on this. So there's a hang up between Valverde, Kinney County, on who's paying for what, and I thought it was discussed and decided on the meeting that was held on Tuesday, the 18th of November at 10 o'clock at the Sheriff's Office in Valverde. I can only submit what I am given, what is allowed. It's above me for somebody to figure out what is going to be paid and how it's going to be paid.
Correct.
And I only get what I file. I get exactly what needs to be filed in the event from the auditor's office on a vendor report.
So, yes. I confirmed with the auditor's office, they were not going to be reimbursing us. And then I had a further conversation with Sheriff Friday evening, and they, at this time, do not plan to take any more of our inmates nor reimburse or pay for our OLS felonies at this time.
Well, they signed an interlocal agreement stating the opposite. And during the meeting we had in Valverde, they said the felonies would be covered, but not the misdemeanor. Conversation with the governor's office, we were supposed to have a meeting at some point, probably this week, to figure out how much money misdemeanors would look like going forward. And so the misdemeanors are an issue, but that's news to me. And the interlocal agreement they signed, which is kind of binding. So I can talk to the sheriff in Valverde to see what's going on with Brad.
Yes, because I went to, after conversations with Carla, she said I needed to send over for the reimbursements from Valverde. So when I called their office, they said, absolutely not. And then I confirmed with the sheriff and he said no. So,
We'll take that up.
yeah, it's just something to be aware of because that cost is is exponential and it is more than our grant award.
Sheila, do you mind if we recheck the plumbing and the texture and influences?
Sure, I can recheck that.
Thank you.
But like, did you know, were you aware of this, like say in August, that this was a potential possible issue we're gonna have?
No, it wasn't until probably late October before we started really getting into this recon after it was, Rochelle did a lot of work on it. So it was late. I wish I'd known before the budget.
Did you communicate with the judge at all then? When you found all this stuff out?
I gave a report, as I'm required to do by statute, is to give my report to the court. As the governing body, that is the five of you.
So all these numbers for 23 and 24 clear 2 audits, correct? Did it pass?
No. This numbers right now are being audited by the external auditors, and OCM only did the first half of the year. They have not cleared any.
My question is, we paid for our outside auditor to do this.
Right.
And these findings came back to us.
That outside auditor did 22, 23. The current outside auditor is doing 23, 24. That report has not been finalized. So no, it has not passed this audit. This is actually a hang up for that single audit, which is more than likely going to get an adverse opinion. No, this has not cleared any audits.
So your audit findings here are holding up our annual audit.
Yes.
Can I say something about the audit? When we were notified in probably April of 24 that OCM was going to be coming here to do an audit. At that time, Ms. O'Keefe, as you know, was the current auditor. The OCM auditors audited 2 months of that grant, September of 23 and February of 24. They pulled 2 months only. They did not audit 6 months of that grant. We had to turn in every payroll report, every document, every general ledger. I didn't do the general ledgers. They came out of the Netta's office. Every document we had for September of 23, February of 24. Some of the big issues that they questioned repeatedly were timesheets, because in September of 23, where you were using manual timesheets, in February of 24, we were using both manual timesheets and automated, because we started using an automated time system in January. People were not familiar with it. So those were the 2 months only that they audited during that grant period. The audit that Cheryl has now conducted is to audit that entire grant period. And our grants do not match that grant, OLS, Operation Lone Star, and Operation Stone Garden. They are not on the same time periods as fiscal year. OLS begins 1 September through 31 August of each year. Stone Garden begins 1 March through 28 February of each year. The other grants that we have are October through September. So those two are exceptions. And Cheryl's audit is
The full year.
to audit the whole year. I don't know whether you were finished, Cheryl. I'll wait till you're finished. I had some other comments, or if you want me to do them now. The items that were filed for, only what was provided to me by our auditor's office did I file. There were, in fact, invoices that came in after the final status report was filed. BCC, Greenwald, there was even one for a Sunset Funeral Home that turned in a request to be transport for an autopsy sent to Travis County. And I notified Ms. Narcy that she would have to pay for that out of her budget because the grant had closed. Anything that comes in, this is an entire list of everything I filed for during that grant period. This report, every month, I get a monthly report of what's filed, for. I do not make up the numbers. I cannot file for more than is an authorized number in that grant. There are probably 100 items in the grant broke down. If there was not a special internal budget on paper set up, and it was never set up by any previous auditor. So I have no information on that. And if that state or statutory laws that Cheryl refers to, perhaps the previous auditor did not realize that or did not know that. I don't know. But when we apply for a grant, we ask for what we need. We send it in as a request in February. It goes through peer reviews, additional reviews at the state. They then determine and approve what we can get. I cannot order and do not let the departments order one single thing if it's not an approved budget line item in a grant. There have been things that I've been asked, can we purchase this? And I have told departments, no. It's not a approved budget line item, you cannot order. The ordering process is the department does a purchase order with a quote attached, sends signed by the department head, signed by the auditor with the fund site, goes to the judge for approval. Those items are then ordered. After the fact, I get the invoice and the purchase order. At one time, I got the purchase orders immediately and the invoices, and when I would get a monthly vendor report, I may get 100 sheets of backup documentation with a copy of every purchase order, every quote to include every single item that was ordered on a purchase order from office people. And then when the invoices come in, I did not even use the invoice amount to file. I used what was sent from the auditor's office. As far as the password, yes, when I started working for the sheriff's office in May of 2018, I was told that it was my responsibility to turn in financial status reports. I did some checking on Saturday, made some phone calls, and found out that when the grants originally started in the sheriff's office, which was probably Stone Garden only, the sheriff's office got the grant, set up the approving, the financial officer, the program project manager and the grant manager. All passwords were controlled in the sheriff's office. And until Miss O'Keefe had been here for some time, but she realized then, wait a minute, what's with these grants? She asked for a password. At that time, there was no cybersecurity information in place, and at no time did I just simply control all those passwords without the auditor having access. Danetta O'Keefe also checked routinely, talked to me routinely, and looked at everything I was submitting. All my financial status reports I submitted were also double checked by the grant point of contact at the state. So they verified every single thing I sent in. There is a list in the first chart that Cheryl put together. I agree, we probably do owe back that $15,000. The other, if the HVAC and the electrical were not done, one was 155,000, one was 145,000. I agree that needs to be repaid. The doors and windows do not need to be repaid, they're already here. Part of the flooring has been ordered and installed in that building in the dispatch, so that needs to be adjusted. There were invoices that came in late. They were after the final status report and how it was put on the general ledger versus how it goes into the budget. I do not have any control over software that is in the county. There are several items that were charged to the general ledger, even this last year, that I requested have a change, moving from the general ledger and charge them to the grant, because there were budget line items. Some of those items were never done. So there were charges the county has paid for that should have been reported on FSR. The adjustment was not made, it was not added to the vendor report, so I could file. Right now, the procedure is Cheryl signs in to the system, selects budget, selects financial status report, selects create. She then notifies me it's open. I complete all of the documentation, do all of the entry, let her know it's in there. I upload all the forms. She hits the submit button to send it in. That's the procedure that's done now. I do have one other thing that she hasn't mentioned, which was a statement in her audit about reluctantly receiving information for the FSRs and eventually got it. And I object to that statement. That is not a true statement. Information was requested by the personnel for February or for September, October, November, or December financial status reports of 23. Some of those were reported, they asked me for them on the 17th of September. I was busy with other things. I told the individual that asked me for them that Cheryl could download them from the system, only to find out Cheryl did not have access to the system because she was put into the system after the fact. But I sent those items to her office on the 22nd. September 17th is a Wednesday. There is a weekend in there. I sent them on Monday. There were 2 other requests for information that were received at perhaps 9 o'clock in the morning, and I sent the information by 11 on the same day on the 27th of October. And again, another day requested at 11 o'clock in the morning. They were sent in the afternoon. If that isn't enough time for me to respond to get information provided when I'm asked for it, based on the other duties I'm performing, then I'm at fault for that. And I do have copies of all the information on every single thing that was submitted. Any of those invoices that came in after the fact, I can't submit after the final FSR goes in, regardless of if it was $100,000 invoice. Thank you.
Hey, Ms. Westbrook, out of those numbers that you said that you agreed to be paid back, do you have a total on that?
Yes, you mean what I submitted?
What you submitted and what you agreed probably needs to be paid back. Do you have a grand total, that number?
I have what I submitted, yes, and I can print out exactly what was awarded on that grant and exactly how much was left in each of the categories. In one category, it specifically says that I overfiled for 63rd Judicial District supplies. Not true. We were awarded $7,000 for 63rd. At what they used some for ink, cartridges for their printers, their whatever they did, and then the budget line item was, our budget adjustment was 380 to move 3,500 of that to a separate line item because they wanted to order chairs for their courtroom, which they did do. So the total amount filed for, if it was posted wrong on the general ledger, but I never overfiled for anything that was not approved for the budget line item.
The chairs were ordered this last year, not 2 grants ago.
They were, right, but they were ordered during the last
Right.
audit, during that audit, during the 203
Right.
audit, and that's the one you just completed auditing. We have.
No, the 202 is the one I just audited, not 203.
Okay, 203, but never at any time did I overfile what was in a category.
Well,
If I were to do a budget adjustment, let's say we have $60,000 on a budget line item, we use 55 of it. And we needed to move somewhere else, some to another area in order to make use or purchase something else. A budget adjustment had to be submitted. And when I would reduce the amount to 55, there's a message that pops up that says you have already reported 55,000 on your financial status report. Do you want to proceed? And I would just say yes, because I would take 5,000 and move it. If we had reported 56 and I wanted to remove 10,000 out of the 60 that was available, it tells me what is left in each category.
This didn't actually have anything to do with the budget line item with the grant. This was, we only expended 4982. We reported 5174. We reported more than we actually spent with a check. No, there might have been a PO
But
in
then that
there.
had to be something in the auditor's office, because there were purchase orders that would maybe come into
Right.
the office and for an item that was $6,000. When we got it back, it was 5,500. And so I only paid what was on the vendor report. I didn't
Right.
report the 6,000.
I think your vendor reports included expenses not actually paid with a check. So anything that had a purchase order with no check could not be filed for reimbursement, and
But
that
if
did
it's-
happen.
But if it's on a vendor report and I ask the vendor report, so I know what to report each month, and in giving that vendor report, I report it from there. I don't use the invoices. And there may be something that, for example, the sheriff's office, if they want an item, well, a perfect example was EMS. They wanted to purchase a defibrillator, which I always mess up saying. At 66,000, they only have 60,000. I would tell them then the other money has to come out of your account. So that had to be split. So I can account for errors in what went on between what I did and the auditor's office at any point. I certainly could make typo errors in there and file something. That is a possibility, because every single office can do that. But all of my FSRs were double checked by my state point of contact.
State points of contact do cursory, and they will tell you they only do a cursory review. They don't do full audits.
Every month, they did a complete check, every single thing I entered for personnel, to include if I missed putting a name down in the secondary spot, even though their name was in there, their cumulative total for their salary and their mileage, they would even send it back and say there's an error, and specifically I would have to redo that. So they check every personnel summary.
And they may have checked those personnel, but management is still responsible to report all of this correctly. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter that the state may or may not, there were errors. This money was not expended in accordance with the grant, so.
But on the flooring construction part of it,
If the flooring was not encumbered with a PO before August 31st of 24, received and paid for by November 29th, then it's an invalid expense. Yes, I know we did recently get flooring, but it was well after the liquidation period.
But there's possibly some plumbing expenses and the texturing.
I will double check, but I don't know how we could legally pay for texturing when there wasn't anything to texture, but I did double check the PO that was brought to my office by Samantha last week on 7812. That was not paid for, but I'm happy to check again. But yeah. Because we can't pay for goods or services we haven't received.
Windows and doors, is that all we've spent on windows and doors?
The PO was a lot more. I was, yep. Okay.
Now, Cheryl, I'm gonna address something with you though that is a little disheartening to me, is that you didn't attend any budget workshops or anything like that. That's very disappointing to the commissioners tonight. That you didn't attend to help us work on our budget and so forth. And at your public hearing for your salary and your office budget, your husband had to share with Ms. Perry that we're gonna possibly owe $350,000 back in OLS. So you're saying you didn't know about this till October? Concerns me.
I didn't have any final numbers until October. We did not start on that
I
work.
had some idea about 350,000, but that's what he shared with Ms. Perry.
Well, what my husband knows and what he shares is up to him, and private communications between spouses, as you are aware, is privileged.
And that privileged information that he shared with Ms. Perry.
I can't control my spouse.
I'd like you to,
This audit work was not even
come
completed.
to more of the commissioners' court meetings and share with us what you're doing. That's what we're asking. Really and truly. We want to do the right thing. Yeah, we owe for the HVAC and electrical. We got flooring. We did some flooring over there. Was it before the liquidation time? Don't know. The texturing was done because we had to get those two rooms done because we're trying to get the dispatching stuff done for the OGS grant for the new dispatching stuff and so forth. But the grant, the final report that came in from OLS the other day, I've not sat down and read. The commissioners all got a copy of it this morning.
Yeah, I have not
Guys, that was the
finalized it too. There are two outstanding items. It's the general ledger, which I'm giving you the report on, and the inventory, which I know we got some of that late. So Rochelle has been working on that.
They're total 71.44 over
Right.
449. What the hell?
Well, we only had to pay back 12.6 out of their timesheet findings. I did not do the payroll audit to that degree. They already made their findings. They've already have issues with particularly Carla's pay, but they're good to leave it with their sample and didn't want any more info. So when we did the full payroll part, we were within pennies after we reduced out their issues. So.
But that's their final report for
That is their final. They are holding our current grant until they get the general ledger, which they'll get soon.
You'll have this on the agenda for next meeting to be accepted?
Oh, that?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. Let's go back to this. If we table this today, where does that put us on getting this corrected or the typos done or whatever? I mean, where are we?
My report,
What's that do to us?
my report is to present to you. There's no acceptance to be had legally. Now, the amount that I believe due back to the state is, so I believe it's a solid number. Now, I can approve that payment, but ultimately you still have to approve that payment. So if you choose to not pay that or pay less, that's really up to you guys. I believe my number is solid, so. And I'm happy to double check it though. It won't be on till the next court.
And then what's that do? That'll hold us up on a single audit a little bit longer.
Well, the single audit, this information has gone to the auditor. He's still working through his single audit. He may have additional findings. I don't think so, but I think he's going to be able to move on. But this is a key part of that single audit, was getting our general ledger cleaned up.
I think that the plumbing, the texturing, and the court reported at $4.20. Those are the ones I have. So it's the 28.6, the 78.12, and the 4.20. I don't know if the 4.20 is a typo or what.
No, so the report she had at the time should have been 88,589, and she reported 88,594. It's a $4.20 overage from what we actually spent per the report Carla had at the time. I do think that that's part of the fallacies, is the reports she was getting from the auditor's office were not accurate.
And then please.
But Jared, when something, let's say it is $4 or it's $10 or it's $100 over. A year ago, I contacted James Hill, who was my point of contact, and I said, if there's a couple items that are showing the negative, because it's $3.45 or something, I said, do you want me to do a budget adjustment and move money from a request, that money be moved from one account where there's extra to that? And he said, no. He said during their final process of closing out a grant, they balance out all those numbers and they move it to cover anything. And in the case of the grant we just completed in August, which the liquidation date was 29 November last month, we used 1.5 million, almost less. So they readjust the balance to cover any items that need to be zeroed out. So there's money there that they use to zero it out.
Again, this doesn't actually have to do with what's available in the grant. We reported more expenditures than we spent. So while we were under the budget line items for the grant, we reported that we spent more than we did.
Okay, so the top, refresh everybody in the top chart, the 15,314. That top chart is what we failed to ask for reimbursement for.
Yes.
For whatever reason, what was they were filed too late, the FSR was already done, we finally got it or whatever, but
yeah,
that's expenses we failed to recapture.
Correct.
15,314. The bottom chart, I think we're all in agreement with the HVAC and the electrical. We did not do anything, so that's $300,000. Okay. But that, we need to double check on the flooring, the plumbing, and the texturing to see what expenses we had over there at Petersen Building prior to November 29, 2024.
Correct.
Okay. Windows, we feel like that's okay. Court reporter, typo, district court supplies, auxiliary furniture, case jackets, installation, computers and equipment, laptops. Again, I don't understand that one. Sure, it's $9,000 and we reported 8,600.
Okay, I'll triple check that one.
The 400. The fleet maintenance deal, I think we didn't take line items correctly or something there, because there's no way we should have had more than $113 in fleet service on the sheriff's vehicles. On OLS vehicles, almost every vehicle we have is an OLS vehicle. So we need to accept this pending a review or just table it until the next.
I mean, there's no acceptance of an auditor's report, so it's just me giving you the report.
Discussion.
Yep.
Does anybody have any other questions or concerns this morning regarding item J? All right. Then my question then is, Cheryl, how do we pay this back? If we receive the money, we have it in our general funds.
Yep.
How do we do we just pay it back out of general funds?
It'll be paid out of the general fund. Yeah, it's sitting in fund balance. We've luckily been collecting interest on it, so hopefully the state doesn't ask us for the interest.
Okay, and then going forward, addressing the having items in the budget.
Well, so go ahead. The money that we have, it's already been paid to us by the state.
Yes.
We haven't spent it, we still have it.
That's correct.
We just gotta get it back.
Yes.
That's what we need.
And that's the
I don't want people to think that we're having to dip into
No,
the general fund and use taxpayers' money.
we're not using taxpayers' money. It's an advance. It's an advance payment that we received that we should not have. Yes.
How do we address the budget item issue? How do we resolve that
The 111.
here on December the 8th?
Yes, so we do need to pass a budget for the current grant. Every grant that has a budget, any grant that we need to expend funds for needs to come before this court and a budget set, just like your annual budget. So while the state approves their budget, that's great, but we can't actually expend from it until you pass the budget. And you can agree with what the state passed or not, and then ask for the budget line items. Any budget line item adjustments made after you've adopted your budget, just like our annual budgets, have to be approved by this court as well as the state. So we need to bring that budget to the court to approve.
How do we approve our budget in August if we don't know what the grant funds are gonna be yet?
Right, so you approve your grants as they come. So if you get your grant in March, then you approve your budget for that grant in March. It's not part of the actual adopted budget in August or
How
September.
we do that?
As we just talked about on Thursday, with you and Becky, I, over the weekend, did send you the awarded amount, and it's broke down by every single budget line item.
Right.
So that could fit into a budget. I recommend that you do the equipment, supplies, contractual, that those in general, and maybe list what's right now under there. But as a budget adjustment is done, that's sent to the state so that they approve the budget adjustments.
Right.
But to hold up a budget adjustment to something very simple to come through commissioner's court before it even goes to the state makes no sense to me. For example, you had Daniel Swain in a position and you hired Joey Montalvo. So I submitted a budget adjustment. I had to recalculate the figures in there and put his name in. There's certain things that are so minor, I could notify the court and all of you, but to have to bring a simple budget adjustment in doesn't make sense, but I did send you the entire budget and you have it in the grant as well. So that could be set up just like you do for your other departments, even though we don't physically have it. 1 cent of that money, it's all a reimbursable grant.
It is a reimbursable grant, but yes, any budget line items though is required to have this court's approval. You could ratify it after the fact on minor things. But if you wanted to say, no, this court would like to spend 5,000 more on XYZ versus this court ultimately makes the decision. Y'all are the 5 members that are responsible for that grant, no matter who submits an FSR.
Yeah. Anything else? On item J? And so we'll look into that. Ms. Jones and work on getting see where the payments were for some plumbing, some flooring, and the texturing deal.
Yep.
Everything else in the fleet maintenance, we don't know if we recapture the correction there, we can read something got put off where it should have line. And then, have that amount, on our expenses to be approved in December meeting, this next meeting, or
Yeah, it'll be on the next meeting. It should be.
anybody else? This is for discussion only, internal audit, and Ms. Jones. That's item J.
Judge, I think for the record, it's important to, which has been discussed over and over the fact that we did not have blueprints for the Petersen Building until July of 2025. And there was no way to advertise for the electrical and on the air conditioning. Realized not to muddy the water as much as to clarify that. And then at that point in time, we did not have the funds budgeted to pay for them because they're going to be quite expensive. And so I think for the record, we need to clarify the fact that we were at the mercy of the architect and the engineer and begging them to complete the blueprints, but they were, not completed until July. And it would have been impossible to not only to advertise prior to that, because we didn't have any blueprints to go by, but after we did receive the blueprint, the money was not the budget. So, for the record, share that.
Okay, and then, but
I guess the question then would be, why did we ask for a reimbursement on an expense we knew we couldn't actually incur? It is a reimbursable, so I guess that would be the bigger question is why did we ask for money we didn't actually spend? So why would we ask for money we didn't actually spend? I guess that's the bigger question for.
it got turned into us as an invoice rather than a quote.
They all say estimates on the information that I was able to verify. So.
Now, in your, if we'd have known this, there's a possibility we could have submitted in writing something to ask for an extension.
Yes,
We could have.
we could have asked for an extension if we
Unless it
knew
was-
that there was going to be those expenses. So they had to be encumbered by August 31st, that we knew we were going to spend it. And then, yes, we could have asked the state for an extension to spend the money,
Less than one.
definitely.
Anything else? All right, I'm gonna move item K to executive session. You guys go this technology.
But it's not really, I mean, it's broad technology.
Already got enough busting this morning. About technology. All right, so we'll go to approve.
Yeah.
Back to you. Well, move item K to executive session. Dealing with technology. Next would be approve the minutes. We have two sets of minutes, a regular meeting and addendum from last meeting. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes. Motion to approve 5A by Commissioner Fair, second by Commissioner Matavo. Any further discussions? All those in favor say aye. Item B, the addendum minute. Entertain a motion to approve that one. So moved by Commissioner Dotson, second by Commissioner Fair. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. All right, request departmental budget adjustments and review. Do we have any of those this morning? None. Item 7, approve disbursements after the Kinney County Detention Center. We do have some of those this morning. Entertain a motion to approve item 7. So moved by Commissioner Dodson, second by Commissioner Ward. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carried unanimously. All right, item 8 is examine and ratify and approve all claims and bills, including payroll for Kinney County budget 2025-2026. All right, entertain a motion to approve the bills as presented. So moved by Commissioner Dotson. Second by Commissioner Farragut. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Noting that Commissioner Ward abstaining on his fire department. All right. Had a water leak issue underneath the firehouse the other day. We talked about that, I believe, already. I mean, I don't know if I, the sheriff's office had a water leak, got it fixed. Potential sewer line problem, going to be a problem there. I believe Joe's Plumbing gave us a bid estimate on it already to repair the sewer line. It's not leaking yet, but it's an old clay pipe runs underneath there. Heater at the library. I think it was a fritter room. Quijano was going to look into it and order a part for it, get us an estimate for that. There's a heater. I think it was in the fritter room, maybe, or the library. It's a heater the other day. Splash pad having trouble with the pump, maintaining pressure. So I reached out to Oasis, and they recommended that Hayward out of San Antonio to come maybe troubleshoot that. But Polo says like it loses its prime. He says 2 or 3 times they can get it to reprime and hold and catch. And then the next time they may try 15 or 20 times and it never hold and catch. And they leave it, come back the next day and 2 or 3 tries, it'll hold prime and work. So I'll reach out to Hayward and see if they can't send somebody. See if it's a technical like gadget issue somewhere or electronic stuff. Or, but having trouble with that. We'll probably consider closing the splash pad here pretty quick. So maybe till like the 1st of February or something, just to where we can drain it and be somewhat safe and not have to worry about it. But Cole and I have talked about that. Also discussed and visited with. We need to. We're good about the maintenance guys, Polo and his crew, tearing them off, doing the tear out for the bathrooms and stuff, and then getting a bid estimate from Joe on putting in just those 2 single toilets, the sink for hot water, cold water, Quijano for the electricity in there for the lighting, and then possibly maintenance guys doing the door work to do the door, change out, do the door like handicap room. I'll be out Wednesday, meetings in Uvalde. Be out Friday. Goes to graduation. Our daughter-in-law's graduating from Tarleton, so she walks Friday afternoon, so we're going to go to that. So I'll be out of town for Frontier Christmas on Saturday. Starts at noon. Frontier Christmas starts at noon.
Yes, sir.
So they'll all be set up again here and stuff. So that'll take place Saturday and everything. What else is happening this week? We have a civil court case tomorrow, and I have criminal court on Thursday. We'll have that local criminal court. Anything else? All right, we'll recess this meeting right quick. We'll open up our PFC meeting right quick. Nothing else for the Commissioners Court general discussion. So we'll recess at 11 o'clock, 11:01. And we'll open up PFC meeting at 11:01. Have a couple items here on PFC to talk about right quick. We do have a quorum present. We'll call it 11:02. Full forum here of the directors. Item 3 on the PFC means deliberate and consider action on the following items. Review and discuss and take action to authorize reimbursement and payment of professional fees related to operation and maintenance of Kinney County Detention Center, Kinney County Detention Facility. Current PFC legal fees invoiced by Haley and Olson. And you'll have that there. It's they bill us kind of annually. You remember the bill for this one is $18,057.28 for services provided in 2025, invoice number 12. Haley and Olson, Waco. So I'll entertain a motion to approve that payment. So moved by Director Ferrick.
Second.
Second by Director Montalvo. Any further discussion or questions on that one?
What was it called? 18 what?
$18,057.28. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried unanimously. All right. Then the next items is we have 2 sets of minutes to approve. It's been a while since we had PFC, but we used to have minutes to approve, so we didn't call a meeting, just to approve minutes to approve again. So we have minutes there from May the 12th. I'll approve those minutes as presented. So moved by Director Dodson, second by Director Ferrick. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. All right, next is a set of minutes from September 22nd. PFC meeting. Entertain a motion to approve those minutes. So moved by Director Ferrick.
Second.
Second by Director Montalvo. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carried unanimously. All right, entertain a motion to adjourn PFC meeting on. So moved by Director Montalvo. Second by Director Dodson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. 11:07. And that adjournment was for the PFC meeting only. We adjourned the PFC during recess. We'll go into executive session. Then we'll take a little short break. We'll go into executive session. And, First item we'll discuss right quick in executive session is item K on the agenda right quick. We'll talk about that. And then attorney consultation and personnel matters also in the executive session. We'll take a short break, recess, and then we'll come back and say about 11:15.
Your